to give you a brief overview, what we will look at today is we will look at, number one, we will look at what are the approaches to globalization and skills development. In particular, we'll look at the fourth industrial revolution and approaches, different competing approaches to the industrial revolution. And in a later video, we will look at the experiences of the knowledge economy. Well, I suppose it's the flavor of the month. People are speaking about the fourth industrial revolution. It's an idea that was phrased, that was introduced by Schwab of the World Economic Forum. And before you embarrass yourself, in public, maybe speaking in Parliament, and you don't know what the four phases of the fourth industrial revolution are, they are there. So first there was the mechanization of water, steam, power, that kind of stuff. Then there was the assembly line, the electricity revolution, fundamentally changed things. Then there was the third revolution, which was maybe in our era, computers and automation. When I was young, we didn't have computers. In fact, when I was young, we didn't even have microwaves. And you can think about the changes that things like a microwave made, because now suddenly I could come home whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to sit around the table with my family and have supper. So it made a fundamental, small thing like that, made a fundamental difference. Computers as well. That's the third industrial revolution. We didn't have basic computers when I was young. So this that we're sitting in front of a computer now, even this video is kind of third industrial revolution. What Schwab is arguing is that there's now a fourth industrial revolution that's happening. And recently I see people starting to speak about 5G. Now the thing about 5G is that 5G, for example, can respond, the theory is, faster than a human being can. So theoretically, if I have a 5G in my car and you have a 5G in your car, our cars can speak to each other, which means that I can have a computer drive my car so to make sure that I don't bump you. If a computer can react faster than I do, it means that I can stand here in South Africa and I can operate in somebody in Canada using some kind of automation. But the whole notion of a cyber-physical system goes even further. That means that I can put something, a computer chip in my eye, like people who are older than me will remember Man van Staal, the Bionic Man. I can put something in my eye which will enable me to see further. So I actually make a physical change to my body. And also, we've started to deal with things like artificial intelligence, computers who are teaching themselves, like Skynet and Terminator. We're starting to do that kind of thing, where in the past, even in your third industrial revolution, a machine would simply work. It wouldn't know that you were there. Now, we can link the machine up so that the machine can actually recognize you so that it doesn't crush you by accident. So if you come closer to the machine and say, oops, sorry, please pause, I'm going to crush you. So these computers are now actually speaking to each other, and they can even integrate them into ourselves. People are looking at nanotechnology. They're looking at artificial legs. So we're not sure what's going to happen with 5G and this fifth industrial revolution. And there's all literature on it, it's a whole debate. But now, the question for us is the fourth industrial revolution a miracle? Is it a myth? Is it a menace? How is this fourth industrial revolution a good thing? Which takes us on to the different debates around the fourth industrial revolution. And I've kind of summarized those in terms of these four categories. So the first category would be your optimist. Now the optimist doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. It's just, people can speak about naive optimists, but that's kind of the general theory. Then there's your pessimists who have problems with optimists and vice versa. There's your skeptics, and there's your pragmatists. So those are the four general theories we're going to look at. Now, they're not called that in the literature. They have different names, which I'll give you now. So let's look at your optimists. Your optimists are your human capital theory people. So that's what the theory is officially called. And what they believe is that there is now a knowledge economy. And this knowledge economy, or the fourth industrial revolution, means that everything is changing. So their slogan, I suppose, would be that the only constant is change. And the problem is that there's a skills mismatch. The skills that workers have now is not the skills that they will need in the future. So, and the jobs that are available in the fourth industrial revolution are not jobs that were available in the future. So suddenly you have unemployment and that kind of stuff, which you probably had already, but they're saying there are going to be new opportunities. But there's going to be a skills mismatch, and people need to develop their skills. And that is partly why TVET is now Flavor of the Month, is how we're going to make sure that the workers keep up with the economy. And one way of looking at that is that we can begin to say that these are people who are advocating that people need to learn how to work. Right? So they need to learn how to work in the new economy. So that's the one group, the human capital theory. So they're optimistic. They're saying that this is good. This is good. We can have more people in education, and the more we give education, this is the basic idea of human capital theory, which we will return to in a few lessons' time. The basic idea of human capital theory is more education is good for the person, because then they have an opportunity to progress. It's good for the economy, and the more education we have, the better the economy is, because more people are educated and they're innovating, and we're developing learning organizations, and we're addressing the skills mismatch. And once we address the skills mismatch, we'll create work for everybody. People might just come to the party, and it's good news for education as well, because I mean now suddenly TVET is Flavor of the Month, so everybody wants to have TVET. And so we've been saying in education, yeah, give people more education. Human capital theory means that the employers want more education too, so that their workforce can keep up. The pessimists, they are saying, yeah, right, that's maybe true, but, and their theory is called skills formation theory, by the way, but they're saying that yes, change is happening, but the more things change, the more they're staying the same. So they're saying that lots of people, even in the new economy, are still doing low-paid jobs, and they're looking at different kinds of economies, especially. So they're saying in some economies they've got what they call high skills regimes. And they say high skills, high wages. Unfortunately, they're saying, and many of them are coming from Britain and your Anglophone countries, like the USA, like Australia, like South Africa. They're saying that the way in which employers are making money is not by hiring better skilled people. What they're doing is they are lowering the wages, and that's how they're making a profit. They're making a profit by outsourcing their work, and they're sending their work to low-paid working wages in China. There's two economies. There's this economy where everybody is getting high-paid jobs. The economy which is the bigger economy, where people are casualized labor in ShopRite, Checkers, Pick n Pay, those kind of things. So they're saying instead of going for this high skills dream that the optimists are speaking about, employers are rather opting to make a profit by pushing the wages down. And what they are proposing is that instead of learning to work, because they're saying the employers are not coming to the party, they say that when people work, they should learn so they can get more skills, because the employers are probably not going to come to the party and give them work, so they need to take this opportunity of working to learn more skills, right, in the workplace. So they must learn maths in the workplace, they must learn engineering in the workplace, etc., so that people have a better chance, because if we leave it up to the employers, things are not going to go well. The skeptics. The skeptics are looking at the fourth industrial revolution and what it was called before that, the knowledge economy. They're saying, actually, the reason why things are changing is so that they can remain the same. And they're saying that all this training, etc., if you look at the training, what does the training actually do? The training teaches people to be obedient workers. And that's what they always did. The training, this whole fourth industrial revolution is about robotizing work so they can get rid of their workers, and so that the workers will be more obedient, and the workers will have certain skills. And they're saying the only skills that workers really have is they have the ability to smile at the customer and say yes, ma'am, or yes, boss. And so they're saying that what's happening now is that lots of the training that's happening is actually about how do we meet the needs of industry. And they're saying meeting the needs of industry, and if we go speak to industry, what they want is they want the workers to be prepared to work for less and to be less lippy. And so all these changes, robotization, the training that they're bringing in, all of those things are geared at keeping the system the way it is, and you will still have rich and poor. Things are not going to get any better. In fact, robots will probably replace your job if you start giving them lip. All right. So there's a whole literature and stuff around each of these areas. So that what they're saying should be happening instead is that we should have a system of transformative workplace learning. So they're saying that, yes, we need to make use of the fact that employers need people to be trained, but we should transform those training places so that people learn about their rights as well, so that they learn about work which is able to transform the work in ways that are more democratic, in ways that teach workers to run the country, that kind of thing. So we shouldn't be teaching people to be compliant, because that doesn't serve the interest of the employer either, because they'll just have people who don't understand what's going on. They're just working. Right. Then there's a last group who I'm calling the pragmatists. And these are probably a group which, well, I think that social realists and the critical realists are probably the group. They're saying that, look, pessimists, listen skeptics, this fourth industrial revolution is going nowhere. It is what it is. You can't wish it away. So they disagree with the optimists. They're saying that this is not a good thing, but they're saying, but it's going to happen. You can't stop the employers from doing what the employers do. And so what they're saying is that let's not let's look at transformative workplace learning. Those things are important. But we also need for students to learn powerful knowledge, is what they call it. And so what they're saying is that in the optimist vision, what is actually happening is not what the optimists are saying is happening. So what is actually happening is people are being taught narrow, fragmented, just skills, narrow skills, how to fix something. And if you can't fix that tire anymore, then sorry, you're without a job, you'll find somebody else. They're saying that we need to teach people powerful knowledges, that they need to understand what's going on, they need to understand how things work, they need to understand the knowledge that's in a machine. And in order to do that, they say people need to understand how society works, they need to understand mathematics, they need to understand physics, because then they understand what is going on inside the machine, so that maybe one day they themselves can begin to occupy those powerful positions. Right. So there you have it. Your optimists, your pessimists, your skeptics, and your pragmatists. You're looking at human capital theory. You're looking at skills formation theory, political economy of skill theory, and social realism. So those are your four broad approaches to the knowledge economy. Yeah. So in the next video, we'll be looking at different experiences of the knowledge economy